Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 6th July 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 7 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says Supreme Court aghast the section 66A of Information Technology Act is still used. So this article mainly focusing on one important section of Information Technology Act, that is section 66A. So if you have studied polity nicely, then you will come across this case for sure. So this topic is important regarding polity, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And this topic will be important exclusively from mains point of view, from not prelims. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Supreme Court found it distressing, shocking and terrible here because people, they were still booked under trial and also they tried under this Section 66A of Information Technology Act even 6 years after it struck down. So here Supreme Court mainly found it is very much distressing, and as well as it is also very much shocking and also terrible because even though this Section 66 of Information Technology Act mainly struck down, so even though people are mainly still booked under this law, and as well as they are also tried under this Section 66A of Information Technology Act. And this provision is mainly unconstitutional, and as well as it is violating freedom of speech and expression. So because of this, Supreme Court struck down this Section 66 of Information Technology Act. So now let us try to see some more details. So if you see details, it mainly says that Section 66A had prescribed 3 years of imprisonment if social media messages they are causing any offense or it is mainly annoyance. So in that way, here Section 66A mainly prescribes some imprisonment if social media messages mainly causing any annoyance or found any grossly offense. And if you are talking about background of this section, Section 66 of IT Act mainly deals with information-based or information-related crimes in which sending information by means of a computer resource or a communication device which is mainly offensive or derogatory or menacing. So this mainly comes under punishable offense. So what happened in 2015, the famous Shreya Singhal versus Union of India case. So in this case, it mainly said that Supreme Court mainly said that offences on the basis of undefined actions, for example, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, insult, so these does not fall under exemptions which are granted under Article 19. So because of this section which is mainly contrary to Article 19 and as well as Article 21 of Indian Constitution. So because of this section which is unconstitutional declared by Supreme Court in famous Shreya Singhal case. So this is the gist of this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says survey of class 3 students to set baseline for literacy goals. This article mainly focusing on this Nipun Bharat mission. Nipun Bharat mission. So this article mainly focusing on this Nipun Bharat mission. So this Nipun Bharat mission mainly focusing on literacy goals. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under governance and as well as schemes, programs and policies of government, and this topic will be exclusively important from prelims. But in mains also you can use this article as a case study. But how? So whenever you are writing any mains answer regarding education, so in this education, what are the steps you are taken by government? Then you can add this Nipun Bharat mission as an example in your answer and you can enrich your answer. Okay, so I hope you understand how you can use this article, right? So now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that the center's Nipun Bharat mission was set a goal by 2026 to 27. So by this time, so every class 3 child should be able to read with understanding at the rate at least 60 words per minute. So it is our target, that is 60 words per minute. And child, they need to able to read and also write numbers up to 9,999. And these children who are in class 3, they need to solve simple multiplication problems. Okay, so these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this Nipun Bharat mission. So if you see some more details, it mainly says that National Achievement Survey of class 3 students conducted, and here we came up with a set of a baseline to track future progress in these children. So until grade 3, children, they are expected to learn to read and also acquire some basic skills like basic addition, subtractions and basic multiplications. And after grade 3, children, they are expected to able to read to learn. Okay, so if children who are in class 3, if they are not able to read or acquire some basic skills, and this will leads to maybe learning gap. So this is one important reason why we came up with this thing. So why we need to focus on this third class children? Because so later on in 4th grade, 5th grade or 6th grade, text in language textbooks and as well as some mathematical concepts, they become very much more complex. Okay, so because of this, mainly to decrease this learning gap, so this type of initiatives will be very useful. And now let us move on to some facts regarding this Nipun Bharat mission. So what is this Nipun? Nipun mainly stands for National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. So this is a full form of this Nipun. It mainly stands for National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. So if you're talking about aim of this Nipun, it mainly talks to create an enabling environment that will help to ensure universal acquisition of foundational literacy and numeracy. So mainly we want to create some universal acquisition of foundational literacy and numeracy. So we are mainly focusing on here foundational literacy and as well as numeracy. And whenever we are going to do this, then it will enable every child to achieve the desired learning competencies. For example, regarding reading, writing and also numeracy by end of grade 3 by 2026 to 27. And if you're talking about implementation, so this Nipun Bharat will be implemented by Department of School Education and Literacy. So you need to remember this. This will be important prelims fact. And if you're talking about mechanism, 5-tier implementation mechanism which mainly set up at national level, state level, district level, block level and as well as school level in all states and also union territories. And if you're talking about funding, so there is no additional funding for this Nipun. Okay, so instead money it is being allocated from this Samagra Shiksha scheme will be given to this program. And if you're talking about significance, the first and foremost thing you need to remember here is, so this is focusing on foundation literacy and numeracy. So these are one of important goals under this National Education Policy 2020 also. So achieve this will be very much helpful. So this is gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says cities along rivers urged to include conservation plans. So this article mainly focusing on this master plans. They need to taken up by cities which are present along rivers. So this is according to National Mission for Clean Ganga. So this article mainly talking about whenever there is any river which is flowing and there are many cities across this banks of this river, then they will release large amount of waste. If you see this image, you can see here we are having a pilgrimage center and the waste from this center which is mainly thrown here. So because of this, what happened, there is increase in pollution in this Ganga river, right? So here this article mainly focusing on this National Mission for Clean Ganga. So you need to know some facts regarding that mission, and as well as you need to know about what are the master plans or conservation plans that cities can be taken. So that is very important. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 point of view under environment and ecology. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that cities situated on river banks, they will have to incorporate river conservation projects, okay, or plans. So whenever river which is flowing in this direction, so there are number of houses or settlements, they are mainly seen here, right? So because of this, whenever the waste of this households or industries which are coming and which are living in these rivers, that will lead to pollution. And we are seeing pollution, which is one of major problem not only seen in Ganga river but also many rivers, even in northern India and also even in southern India. So because of this, we need to take some master plans for clean rivers actually. So in this context, so this article mainly says that cities which are situated on river banks, they will have to incorporate river conservation plans, okay, when they prepare their master plans. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is the thing which mainly said by National Mission for Clean Ganga. So now let us try to see some important details. So if you see details, it mainly says that National Water Policy emphasizes the need for plans to make or to consider questions of encroachment and land ownership across the bank of river. And next one is river sensitive plans must be practiced. So this article mainly says that according to this national water policy, we are mainly focusing on two important things. First one, it is regarding encroachment and land ownership, and second one is plans. It must be taken, okay. Plans must be taken mainly to sensitize our river problems. So these are some important things that you need to remember. And now let us see further more details. It mainly says that there is need for a systematic rehabilitation plan. For example, in case of encroaching entities, and that they mainly emphasize on alternative livelihood options. And if you're talking about this master plan, so this master plan mainly includes satellite-based monitoring of water quality and artificial intelligence for river and biodiversity mapping, and also we need to focus on big data and citizen science for river health monitoring. And we need to also focus on unmanned aerial vehicles for floodplain mapping. So these are some important actions that can be taken. And now let us try to talk about this Namami Gange program. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this Namami Gange program, so it is one of integrated conservation mission. So this mission mainly approved as a flagship program by Union government in June 2014. And this Namami Gange program operated under Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. So if you're talking about important objectives of this Namami Gange program, so first one is we need to focus on effective abatement of pollution. That means how to decrease this pollution. And next one is about conservation and rejuvenation of national river Ganga. Okay, so these are some important twin objectives of this Namami Gange program. So if you're talking about this program, so this program mainly implemented by National Mission for Clean Ganga at national level, and at state level we are also having state program management groups. So this is a gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. So before that, this National Clean Ganga program mainly based on four important pillars. So first one is it is mainly focusing on sewerage treatment, infrastructure, and as well as education effluent monitoring. So it mainly focuses on sewage treatment infrastructure and as well as industrial effluent monitoring, and also focuses on riverfront development and river surface cleaning. It also focuses on biodiversity and afforestation, and also regarding public awareness. So this is gist of this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says services shrink most since July. So this article mainly focusing on purchasing manager index. So this index, it is about services. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 under economy. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's service sector shrank the most last month since July 2020. So from July 2020 onwards, now we can see there is a decline or shrank in Indian services sector. So this is mainly according to survey based IHS Market Purchasing Managers Index for services, when it says that it is just 41.2. So because of this, whenever the value which is less than 50, which mainly showcase there is contraction. And next one is this index also reflects a second successive monthly contraction in new businesses and increase in job shedding by firms. So whenever there is no demand in market, then the companies, they will go for shutdown of their companies, and they will leave their they will mainly resign, or they will mainly suspend their workers, right? So if you see some details, it mainly says that international demand for Indian services deteriorated further with new export orders falling for 18th straight month. So from 18th straight month we saw for the first time, so demand in this service sector decreases, and as well as decrease in export orders. And why this there is a service which mainly decreased? Because of there is no business activity and new orders, so they are mainly decreased in 4 out of 5 broad areas. And next one is we are also seeing some fastest rates of contraction which mainly registered in consumer services. And next one is because of this decreasing of new order, that led to mainly unemployment or decreasing opportunities of job, and that is also led to increase in unemployment. So if you're talking about Purchasing Manager Index, we discussed number of times regarding this index in our Hindu analysis. So now let us once again have a revision. So PMI mainly stands for Purchasing Managers Index. So it is one of important indicator of business activity, okay, in mainly service and as well as manufacturing sectors. So if you're talking about this PMI, it is a survey based measure that mainly asks the respondents about changes in their perception about key business variables. So based on this survey, so here PMI will be come up. So it mainly calculated separately for manufacturers and as well as services. So this is one important glimpse fact. And next one is, here if you're talking about this Purchasing Manager Index, so number will be ranges from 0 to 10. So more than 50 means expansion, less than 50 means we can say contraction, and PMI it is equal to 50 means there is no change. So here it is just 41.2, that means it will comes under the category of this PMI which is less than 50%. So it mainly represents contraction in our economy. Okay, and next one is purpose. So this PMI will provide information about current and as well as future businesses. So in this way, decision makers, analysts, analytics, and as well as investors, they mainly go for informed decision whenever we are providing this type of data. So this is the gist of this topic. I hope it is clear. And now let us see next topic. Title says RBI to buy rupees 20,000 crore G-Secs July 8th. So this article mainly talking about G securities or G-Secs. So this is one of important topic under your static syllabus which comes under economy. So because of this we are going to talk about what is this G securities. Okay. So this topic will be important from GS3 point of view, which mainly comes under your economy. So now let us try to see context first. If you see context, it mainly says that RBI said the first purchase of government securities for an aggregate amount of rupees 20,000 crore under this G securities acquisition program. Okay, so this article mainly says that RBI which is going to purchase government securities of an aggregate amount of rupees 20,000 crore under this government GSAP program. So now let us try to see some important details. So RBI governor announced that central government will conduct open market operations or open market purchase of this government securities of rupees 1.2 lakh crore under this GSAP 2.0 program. Okay, so what is this open market operation? So I discussed about this topic number of times in our Hindu analysis. So if you don't know about this open market operations, let me know, and tomorrow lecture we are going to discuss that. So if you know about this open market operations, then please let me know in comment box. What about that? And if you see, this article mainly says that RBI will buy 5 government securities of different maturities via multi-security auction. So if you're talking about some facts regarding these G securities, so these securities are also called as government securities. So these government securities are essentially debt instruments which are issued by government. So these securities can be issued in two types, in two key categories. First one is treasury bills, second one is dated securities. So this can be issued by both central government and also state government. So if you're talking about these treasury bills, they are mainly short-term instruments, okay, and they will mature within 91 days or 180 days, 182 days or 364 days, that is within 1 year. And if you're talking about these dated securities, they are long-term instruments, so they will mature between 5 to 40 years. So these are some important facts. And now let us see next topic. Title says a virus theories of origin and a place for science. So this article mainly talking about source of this SARS coronavirus. So to understand this article, first author gave an example regarding nuclear power plants. So this article will be important regarding health and as well as it is important regarding international relations also, which mainly comes under this GS paper too. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article overall is talking about source of this SARS coronavirus. First, if you see introduction of this article, author mainly said that, so if there is any nuclear plant in a town, so if residents are mainly displayed some signs of radiation sickness, that will lead to closure of this nuclear plant. And second important thing here is if that town, it is a home for research center where reactive material was stored, and because of this that lead to some experiments or some any changes or any radiation sickness in people, and people that they will close that thing also. And next assumption here is because of any nuclear waste which is mainly dumped from plant or research and that is buried underground. So because of this, if there is any suspension rises, so that will lead to closure. So these are the three scenarios which we can see closure of this plant that will be happen. Either whenever plant which is mainly set up there, and because of that residents who are responding like they are getting some radiation sickness, or because of this home or any research center, so where we are storing this radioactive material, and in nuclear waste. So in these three scenarios that will lead to closure of this nuclear plant. So in the same way we can say opinion which is mainly divided in our society. So one opinion will not be like one people mainly says that it is my opinion, another people may not satisfy with that, they will come up with different opinion. So we are having different opinions. So if you move on to hypothesis and evidence regarding this origins of this SARS coronavirus, so one school of thought mainly says that Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is a leading coronavirus research center, which is mainly responsible for introduction of this new coronavirus. And some people mainly say that there are many reports that researchers who are working in this Wuhan Institute of Virology, they got ill and they led to transmission of this virus in 2019. And the second hypothesis here is because of this natural spillover event that led to transmission of this virus from wild animals to humans. For example, as how HIV or AIDS and as well as Ebola, Middle East respiratory syndrome and Nipah virus are transmitted from animals to humans. So in the same way, this coronavirus also transmitted from animals to humans. And next important hypothesis here is animal markets are important cause for spread of this virus, because particularly Huanan market in Wuhan, which mainly sells variety of live or frozen animal meat. So this is one of important center that led to transmission of this virus. These are three different hypotheses regarding the source of this coronavirus. And if you see in this context, archaeologists, epidemiologists, virologists, and they are mainly facing a big challenge to find out exact source of this origin of this SARS coronavirus. Okay, so this is the important thing. So in this context, we can also talk about entry of politics. So mainly Western countries alleging that China which is responsible for the spreading of this coronavirus. But this thing mainly denies by China. So in this context, what can be done? So China mainly need to cooperate because actually this coronavirus mainly started in Wuhan city. So because of this, it is essential to play an important role regarding China and China need to participate or cooperate with other countries mainly to trace origins of this SARS coronavirus. And next one is we need to collect more data and more evidences regarding this SARS coronavirus before coming into confirmation. And next one is we need to go for proper investigations. So we are having WHO. So WHO, which is mainly doing examination regarding source of this coronavirus. So in this context, whatever the studies which are done by this WHO, that need to be multiplied and proper investigation that need to be done by WHO. So this is gist of this topic. And now let us see next topic. So before saying that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and also highly economical course, that is current affairs package along with mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful to clear UPSC 2022. So one thing you need to remember here is before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 year current affairs. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 year current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And why you need to focus on this current affairs? Because in prelims, in mains and even in interview, you can get questions from this current affairs. To answer those questions, here mastering of current affairs is very important. And if you're talking about mains answer writing practice, many students who are especially freshers or beginners, they ignore this mains answer writing practice. So because of this, even though if you are doing hard work and if you clear prelims, you cannot clear mains without proper answer writing skills. And next important thing here is, if you join this course, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday and we provide you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. And apart from this course, we also launched Indian Geography course. So cost of that course, it is also very low. So if you want, you can also join that course. So details of this courses are given in description box. So please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly regarding these courses, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay, now let's come back and let us say next topic. Title says crafting a unique partnership with Africa. So this article mainly talking about India-Africa cooperation in agriculture. So this article mainly talking about India-Africa cooperation in which sector? That is agriculture. Okay, because here China factor which is coming into picture. China which is mainly doing most of investments in Africa. So because of this, India need to learn how Beijing is approaching Africa and what the lessons that we need to take away. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 2 under international relations. Okay, and this topic will be important from mains point of view. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail, and I will try my level best to make you understand this topic. So this article mainly talking about India-Africa cooperation. So recently our External Affairs Minister, he tweeted that historically solidarity is today a modern partnership. So during recent visit to Kenya, our External Affairs Minister made this statement. So if you're talking about New Delhi's engagement with African continent, which has been multifaceted, that is multidimensional. So we have implemented many projects under line of credit, and also we are coming up with capacity building initiatives and also cooperation in wide range of sectors. So if you're talking about data, if you're talking about agriculture data, 65% of world's uncultivated land which is present, and agriculture mainly employing over 60% of workforce, and this agriculture mainly accounts for almost 20% of sub-Saharan African's GDP. So if you're talking about the sub-Saharan African areas, so for these areas agriculture is one of important contribution for GDP. So it mainly contributed about 20% of their GDP. So agriculture is one of critical to Africa's economy. So by this we can understand agriculture is very important to Africa's economy. So in this agriculture we are seeing there is Chinese engagement which is increasing. So our past few years there is increase in Chinese engagement in this Africa. Today China is among Africa's largest trading partners also, and one of Africa's single business creditor. So here China came with setting up of different institutes, over 20 agriculture technological demonstrator centers, and they are providing mainly technology for Africa, and as well as they are providing new crop varieties that will finally increase crop yield. And not only this, they are also giving a training to people. And next one is China also invested in technology in Zambia. So they came up with agri-tech. So this agri-tech mainly helps to combat traditional challenges. For example, recently we saw about locust attack, right? Or we can also call it as fall armyworm. So here they are going to use drones mainly to tackle this problem. In this way, they are mainly going to use technology. So here, what are the key takeaways for India? So India Africa Institute of Agriculture and Rural Development in Malawi. So they came up with extension of soft wounds and as the supply of machinery and even acquisition of farmlands, and also presence of Indian entrepreneurs in African ecosystem. So in this way, we need to go for investment in Africa. And next one is Indian farmers. They are also have purchased over 6,000 hectares of land for commercial farming in Africa. So in this way, Kerala government also recently announced that it is trying to meet its steep requirements of raw cashew nuts of about 8 lakh tons per year. So because of this will mainly leads to jointly owned brand of Africa Kollam cashews. So in this way, we can promote some incentivizing Indian industries also. So whenever any Indian industries are promoting this type of ideas, so government need to incentivize these type of Indian industries. So in this context, what can be done? We need to go for more investments in Africa, and we need to go for capacity building, training, skill development, etc. And we need to do some detailed surveys of participation in Africa, and also we can learn from Beijing model a lot. So how Chinese mainly approaching other countries here. Okay, so in this way, this article mainly talked about India's relationship with Africa in agriculture, because there is high chance of getting of this type of questions in your international relations under paper 2. So because of this, whenever any country which is coming in news, so you need to make at least 5 to 10 points regarding that. Okay, so in this way you can enrich your answers. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package and Indian geography. Thank you so much.